Landlocked and neighbouring Turkey, Georgia, Iran and Azerbaijan, Armenia lies in the middle of the Caucasus. In 1991, the country became independent following the collapse of the Soviet Union and joined the United Nations a year later. Armenia wants Turkey and the world to recognise the killing of hundreds of thousands of Armenians between 1915 and 17 as genocide, something Ankara has refused to do. Despite that, both have just agreed a framework to normalise relations. However, Armenia's border to Turkey and Azerbaijan remains shut following a dispute over the region of Nagorno-Karabakh. The trade blockade has caused widespread poverty and unemployment, and Yerevan is pushing for EU entry to alleviate the economic hardship. The NGO, the European Movement of Armenia, is also actively seeking closer ties with the rest of Europe.
Border with Turkey of Armenia is not only the border with Turkey, it's also the border to Europe. So our shortest way to trade, to travel, and whatever is through Turkey. And if the border is closed, this is the border between Europe and Armenia.
Here on the border, which has been shut since 1993, the Ararat mountain, that Armenians call the Masis, or mother of all mountains, imposes itself on the landscape at more than 5,000 meters high. While negotiations between Ankara and Yerevan are ongoing, Armenia's president remains optimistic about the future.
I hope I'll be able to go to the football game in Turkey this autumn. Obviously, if the border is open. Our negotiations are continuing, and we hope to come to an important and clear conclusion.
Proud of their Christian roots, many young people in Armenia dream of forging closer ties with the rest of Europe.
I'd like to contribute to my experience to Armenia, to the economy, to the culture, and I am sure that our young society, our community will bring more values into Armenia, will restore the existing values, and will make a change for the better.
I'm a German speaker and I would like to work in Europe.
Armenia's capital, Yerevan, is where the key economic and political decisions are made. With the EU launching a new policy in the Caucasus in May to promote democracy and human rights, Armenia has signed up. Since last year, following a request from Armenia's president, the European Commission has also set up an office in the capital.
This is a new idea that we are trying in Armenia for the first time ever. It's a group of high-level advisors that try to help Armenia and the Armenian institutions at the high level to design reforms, to implement reforms.
Since independence, Armenia is estimated to have lost a quarter of its population through emigration. In a country little known for its economic prosperity, for many Armenians who don't even have the means to travel abroad, change cannot come quickly enough. The head of the European Movement of Armenia has travelled to Brussels. He's seeking help in attempts to join the European Union.
Victor, there you are. How was your flight?
Very good.
Okay, good, great. Well, come in. Come in. Good to hear.
Recently set up, the European Friends of Armenia is also trying to strengthen the country's links with the EU.
European Friends of Armenia is a new NGO that tries to build bridges between Armenia and Europe from Brussels. So our focus is to do this from the European side and to take a European point of view and then explain Armenian issues here in Brussels, but also, of course, European issues on the Armenian side.
For some in the European Parliament, Armenia's accession to the EU remains unpopular. For others, it cannot take place before relations with Turkey improve.
Today, for Armenia's development, so that it can develop in the south of the Caucasus, it needs to open its border with Turkey. But it's not the only one. Turkey also needs just as much to open its border with Armenia, because we know that the region of Anatolia in Turkey is one of the poorest Turkish regions, and it needs to trade with Armenia.
I don't believe that at the moment Armenia can become a member of the European Union. But with the Eastern Partnership, they can get much closer to Europe. A free trade area can be reached, maybe a permanent agreement with open borders, if they fulfill their obligations. A European internal market may be possible. One probable solution could be like what exists with Norway.
For Armenia's political leaders, forging closer relations with the EU is a work in progress.
Today, I believe our European partners have a much better opinion about Armenians. We've advanced in many ways. I always tell them, if you compare our progress with the experience of long-established states, which have a century of history, whereas Armenians have only 17 years of independence, that's not a fair comparison.
Boasting stunning scenery, Armenia has the potential to become a popular tourist destination. But hopes of closer links with the rest of Europe still remain a distant desire.